HOA built 140 vacation cabins on my lake. They didn't expect what happened after I opened the dam. Silver Lake had always belonged to someone, though most residents of Ridgewood Pines spoke about it as if it were a shared treasure gifted to the community. The water stretched wide and calm behind rows of cedar homes, reflecting sunsets like molten gold. Children learned to fish from its banks. Retirees sipped coffee facing its misty mornings. It was the neighborhood's pride. But legally, undeniably, Silver Lake belonged to Thomas Callahan. Thomas wasn't a recluse, nor was he boastful. At 64, the retired hydraulic engineer valued quiet routines and the stability of things earned honestly. He had purchased the lake and surrounding conservation land decades earlier, long before Ridgewood Pines existed. Back then, developers had approached him repeatedly, each with grander visions: resorts, marinas, boutique retreats. Thomas refused them all. He allowed the eventual housing development only after negotiating strict boundaries. The lake would remain private, the shoreline preserved, no commercial activity permitted. Those terms were etched into deeds, surveys, and municipal records. For years, the arrangement held. Then the HOA leadership changed. Under President Elaine Porter, Ridgewood Pines shifted from modest governance into aggressive expansionism. Elaine possessed the charisma of someone who mistook confidence for competence. She championed upgrades, clubhouse renovations, decorative signage, community enhancement initiatives. Most residents applauded, until whispers began. The proposal surfaced quietly at first: lakeside revitalization, small recreational cabins, Elaine described at a board meeting. Tasteful, beneficial, a revenue stream for long-term HOA stability. Thomas, seated in the back, felt a chill despite the summer heat. He raised a hand. Silver Lake is private property. Elaine's smile was polished. Of course, Thomas. Preliminary discussions only. But discussions evolved quickly into approvals. Architectural renderings appeared in newsletters. Survey crews arrived. Construction permits were cited, permits Thomas had never authorized. He contacted the HOA board. Their response stunned him. Silver Lake designated as community-adjacent amenity zone. Thomas reread the phrase 3 times. It was fiction. He drove to City Hall. Records remained intact. Ownership unchanged. No easements granted. Yet construction began anyway. The first foundation poured before Thomas's cease and desist letter reached Elaine's desk. By autumn, 20 cabins stood. By winter, 60. By spring, 140. Silver Lake's shoreline transformed into a dense corridor of rental units marketed as exclusive vacation escapes. Weekend traffic surged. Noise multiplied. Boats cluttered waters once silent. Thomas watched helplessly. Legal filings dragged through procedural delays. The HOA's attorneys argued interpretations, challenged boundaries, exploited timelines. Thomas's frustration grew, but so did his resolve. Because Thomas Callahan understood something the HOA did not. Silver Lake was not merely scenery. It was infrastructure. Decades earlier, Thomas had overseen construction of a privately licensed water-level control system designed for flood mitigation and ecological preservation. The dam, discreet and meticulously maintained, regulated seasonal fluctuations. Its operation remained entirely lawful and entirely his. Elaine Porter never asked about it. Perhaps she assumed the lake behaved naturally. Perhaps she believed ownership details irrelevant. Perhaps she simply didn't care. The breaking point arrived during an unusually wet summer. Storm systems rolled through relentlessly. Rainfall accumulated beyond normal thresholds. Silver Lake rose steadily, inches creeping toward structural limits defined long ago in engineering reports. Thomas monitored gauges daily. He sent warnings, formal notices, technical data. Elaine dismissed them. Fear-mongering, she declared publicly. The HOA's development meets all safety standards. Thomas's final letter was brief, objective, documented, ignored. So Thomas made a decision grounded not in revenge, but in compliance. Because hydraulic systems demand adherence. and Silver Lake was approaching the level where controlled release became mandatory. As Thomas walked toward the dam control house beneath a darkening sky, Ridgewood Pines continued celebrating its profitable lakeside transformation, completely unaware that the laws of water, gravity, and neglected warnings were about to assert themselves with unstoppable force. The storm arrived at dusk. Thunder rolled low across Ridgewood Pines, vibrating windows and rattling nerves. Rain fell in relentless sheets, overwhelming gutters and turning streets into shallow rivers. Silver Lake swelled visibly, waves slapping against docks and cabin stilts. Thomas Callahan stood inside the dam control house, face illuminated by instrument panels. The readings were unequivocal. Maximum tolerance exceeded. Protocol required action. He initiated controlled release. Mechanisms engaged with a deep mechanical groan. Gates adjusted incrementally. Water surged through spillways, its roar rising into the storm's chaos. Downstream, consequences unfolded rapidly. Cabins closest to the shoreline felt it first. Saturated soil shifted. Retaining structures strained. Wooden supports trembled under hydraulic pressure their designers had underestimated. Residents noticed too late. Emergency alerts sounded. By midnight, sections of the lakeside cabin row stood partially submerged. Pathways vanished beneath churning water. Decorative landscaping dissolved into muddy torrents. Elaine Porter watched from her balcony in disbelief. This can't be happening. But physics does not negotiate. Morning revealed the full impact. Dozens of cabins sustained structural damage. Several declared unsafe. Insurance investigators descended. Municipal inspectors followed. Then came the discovery Elaine had feared most. Thomas's documentation, copies of warnings, engineering assessments, flood risk analyses explicitly noting shoreline development restrictions. The HOA's liability exposure became catastrophic. Legal defenses collapsed. Media interest ignited. How did the HOA approve construction on private land with documented flood controls? Residents demanded answers. Financial fallout accelerated. Repair costs soared beyond reserves. Special assessments loomed. Lawsuits multiplied. Elaine Porter resigned within weeks. But accountability continued. Court rulings were decisive. Unauthorized development, violation of property rights, negligence of documented risk, cabins ordered removed, restoration mandated. Thomas never celebrated publicly. He returned to his quiet routines, fishing at dawn, maintaining water systems, watching Silver Lake slowly reclaim its natural serenity. Yet Ridgewood Pines would never forget. Because the lesson had arrived not through anger, but through inevitability. Ignore ownership, ignore warnings, ignore engineering realities, and eventually reality answers. And when it does, it speaks in forces far louder than any HOA president.